Bonjour à tous et bienvenue dans ce nouvel épisode. Alors, pour info, j'ai regardé vite fait les épisodes précédents et j'ai baissé le son car c'était un peu fort. Peut-être parler un peu plus fort. Donc voilà. On va baisser un écran. Et donc voilà. Et donc quant à moi, donc on est directement sur le début de l'épisode 2, donc ça part directement sur une cinématique.
Tell you. You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer, but has never wanted to tell me why.
We are doing our utmost to find your mother as quickly as possible. Without your mother, hundreds of men of the cloth would have gone to the guillotine.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Do you believe your mother capable of torturing a child?
An agreement for cannons. Lord Mortimer assured me that you are to take over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wollner, Minister of Religious Affairs, and Jacques Peroux, French Revolutionary Tribunal Judge. You will find that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de
Un
Richelieu.
petit récap des personnages
I do apologize for being late. I was
avec Lord
obliged to clear up some
Mortimer,
urgent business.
Mortimer, pardon, qu'on le voit donc pour la première fois. Alors je peux équiper 2 manuscrits en plus.
At last we meet, Monsieur
Cache,
de
cache.
Richelieu. Do you mind if I call you Louis?
Please do.
Thank you. I wish to apologize wholeheartedly that I made you cross the seas, and I wasn't even here to welcome you. When I asked you to join us here, it was, of course, in the hope that you would help us find your mother. However, there may be some new developments. But I don't.
C'est au large de quoi? De l'Angleterre, hein.
If they are linked to your mother. We have found Elizabeth Adams' body in her room. I'm afraid she was brutally murdered, stabbed several times.
I can't believe it. We bumped into each other last night on our way to bed.
Yes, I know.
Heureusement que je
Duchess
crois pas.
Hillsborough informed us that she accompanied you at the beginning of the evening. You apparently bumped into Miss Adams, who wanted to speak to you. We are told you turned her away, and she went away on her own.
That's correct.
Do you know what she wanted to see you about, by any chance?
She seemed upset about something. I thought she was under the influence of alcohol, but we didn't really speak.
Pity. The poor child was probably trying to find help.
Ça va, ça
I
va.
thought it could wait until tomorrow.
Apparently not.
Louis, I shan't hide the fact that this tragedy puts me in a very delicate situation. I cannot risk upsetting the smooth operation of our next conference. But the case cannot remain unaddressed. I must reassure my guests, and justice will be done. And for that to happen, I must ask for your help.
Why is that?
You met Elizabeth. You spoke together, I believe. She trusted you. Listen, Louis. Find out who could have committed this murder. I refuse to believe that one of my guests is the murderer. I want to know who is responsible for this. And I trust you. You have my backing. You must stop at nothing. Can I count on you?
Of course. How would you like me to proceed?
Maybe you could start by going to the scene of the crime. Elizabeth was
Là,
attacked.
on va dire que par définition, c'est Jacques Peroux.
Do you have any suspects in mind, my lord?
I spent most of the night talking with Sir Gregory and His Eminence Piaggi. So I think you can remove them from the list of suspects.
Ça, c'est vraiment une sorte de club de...
Monsieur Bonaparte and President Washington left the party after midnight, I believe. They were tired and went up to bed.
Can you tell me anything else about what happened?
Now, Louis, I wouldn't want to influence you. Get over there and form your own opinion.
Ok.
Right. I'll get over there immediately.
Thank you, Louis. Now, once you've finished, come back and let me know your findings. I'll be waiting. And Louis, you've got permission to search through the guests' rooms. They've all been notified and they agree.
Your Eminence, I imagine that you've heard the news about Miss Adams.
What a tragedy, my son. How could such a thing have happened?
That's exactly what I'm trying to find out. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary last night?
I saw the young French soldier, Bonaparte, I believe, hanging around near Miss Adams' room. But I would not want to get an innocent man into trouble, Louis. It's probably nothing.
Not to worry, Your Eminence. If he is innocent, then he has nothing to fear. Do you know why Monsieur Bonaparte was hanging around her room like that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the dashing young soldier had become infatuated with a fragile young woman who looked a bit lost. But I don't think he got a very warm
C'est pas
welcome.
baisé?
Bonaparte and Adams? But they didn't even know each other, did they?
I couldn't say, Louis. But if I were you, my son, I would talk to Monsieur Perrault. You remember how violently he set upon Miss Adams.
C'est le
Oh, don't
coupable
worry. He's on the list of
trop...
suspects.
pas trop facile.
Dante's Purgatory. Why does your mind presume to flight when you're still like the perfect grub, the worm before it's attained its final form? Charming. Which four-letter word could open this chest?
Quoi?
Carmelite water will give me a little reprieve.
The nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781.
Mais attends, c'est assez connu.
Honey, I couldn't have hoped for better. I've come to speak about the findings of the investigation, my lord.
I'm listening, Louis.
I'll be in touch as soon as I have any more information.
Putain, c'est... C'est chaud, hein. Putain, le coffre à 4 lettres. Je pense qu'on va trouver des indices quelque part. Ok. Là, on va fouiller toutes les chambres. Ah, là, c'est l'allemand? Putain, je peux pas la fouiller, cette chambre?
Monsieur Johann von Wollner.
Tu vois que là, je peux pas y aller. Cool. Ça me bloque un peu.
Good day, Monsieur de Richet.
Mr. Wollner, are you looking for anything in particular? Next to Elizabeth's room?
I...
Ah,
No,
il bégaye, il bégaye, il bégaye.
nothing special.
Has anyone told you that Elizabeth was killed last night?
Yeah.
Bégaye.
Rumors spread quickly.
Huh. He looks very put out.
It's horrible. How did it happen?
I can say nothing to you, sir. You'd better follow your host's instructions and stay in your quarters.
I shall leave you now, sir. I will return to my room.
Je crois que c'est sa chambre, là. Ah, il y a encore son corps. Bonne ambiance. Ah oui, putain, tu m'as fait peur.
My dear Elizabeth, I'm writing to inform...
Has finished with this room?
Do you know who could have made such a mess of this room?
Miss Adams, sir. We were given orders to leave the room as it was, so as not to rush her.
Did she have a fight with someone to get the room into this state?
Not that I know of, sir. Miss Adams would sometimes throw a tantrum, during which she would destroy anything that came to hand. Lord Mortimer told us not to enter the room.
Thanks for that information.
You are welcome, sir. Has finished with this room?
No, I haven't gone over everything yet.
Sir may take his time. When sir would like to leave, sir has only to tell me.
Pourquoi on doit passer par là?
The blade is short and thin. Well sharpened, apparently. It's covered in blood. Still fresh. The lower part of the handle is unsullied by blood. The murderer gripped the weapon so tight that there's no blood where he held it. The handprint indicates a small and slender hand. The handprint on the handle is really small. I can't imagine a man with a hand that size.
Sérieux?
It must be from a woman's hand.
Ok.
Poor girl bled to death. Whoever left that footprint has boats for feet. That's at least a size 15. Where's a size like that here? Peru? Washington, maybe.
Ok. Donc, une arme de femme et des pieds d'homme. Qu'est-ce qui se serait passé si j'étais allé là-bas? C'est une bonne question.
Blood, but no trace of blows on the legs. More tattoos, similar to those on the rest of her body. There are numerous marks on the body. She must have fought like a lion. It couldn't have happened without a lot of noise. There are also a number of old scars.
Peut-être ma mère, hein?
People who scar themselves in this way generally do so to relieve some kind of psychological suffering. By trying to master the pain, they establish their self-control. Scarring, ugh. Scarring isn't very regular, but they're mostly from old cuts. Ancient Greek. Let's see what it means. These are sacred chants intended to protect their bearer. But from whom? Or from what? I see no sign of bruising on the skull. The only clue is a scar from a previous craniectomy. Poor Elizabeth, she must have been very young when she went through all that. That's torture. She also has old scars around the neck, maybe mutilations.
Putain, elle a pas eu une vie facile.
What a strange smell. Laudanum. Certain courtiers use it to get drunk. If taken in large quantities, it can provoke fits of madness.
Je pense qu'elle s'est suicidée. Mon premier avis, ça serait ça.
She bled from the nose. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. There are signs of bleeding, but I don't see any traces of bruising. I count no fewer than 9 wounds on the thorax, with a lot of blood. At first sight, I'd say that's what caused her death. It looks as though the wounds were inflicted from a precise angle, as if the murderer was standing behind Elizabeth. Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that? The skin between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body.
C'était cousu.
Some of these tattoos are veritable works of... What's that?
Excusez-moi.
Between her breasts is different. Bloody hell! This tattoo was drawn on a page of leather and stitched onto her skin. Probably during childhood. If the scars are anything to go by. It's the same kind of tattoo as on the rest of her body. No wounds, but blood on the right hand. Nothing on the left except that tattooed symbol. No marks or bruising around the wrists. Doesn't look like she was tied up or held by force.
Ok, bon, j'ai quelques infos, mais...
Knocked over bottle of wine. What kind of plonk is that? Hey, it's a Bordeaux. That's a Chateau de Briand. It's a great wine. I don't know what's happened to this wine, but it's undrinkable.
Ils ont mis le caviar dedans, là?
Vials of laudanum. The label shows that this laudanum comes straight from America. I wonder if Washington's involved.
Ok.
Pentagram. What the hell's been going on here? Many esoteric rituals are based on this shape. Could Elizabeth have been sacrificed during an occult ritual? The clock stopped at 3:54. If it was smashed during the murder, then I've just established the time of the crime. That would clear Emily de facto because she was still with me at the time. The notebook, written in Elizabeth's handwriting, is written in a mix of several languages. It looks like a mixture of medieval Latin and Anglo-Norman. It is difficult to make sense of this jerky writing. I can make out some passages, though. He's coming. The demon is upon me. He's coming back to kill me. There she is. Death has come to finish me
Mais
off.
non.
I've just run into her son. That was her last entry. What tortured writing.
Ça, j'ai
June
toujours
11th.
regardé.
So,
Ouais. Ok.
a pistol? Fairly new, I'd say. And judging by the weight, fairly light. A tribute engraved on the barrel. To the liberators of France.
C'est français.
There's a few dried traces of blood on the grip.
C'est.
Difficult to know
Ça
for
va.
sure how
En fait,
they got
j'ai
there.
l'impression que tout est fait
It's extremely well maintained.
pour
The
accuser
barrel is
Pérou.
perfectly clean. It isn't loaded, and
Ça a l'air
well,
trop
there's no
pratique, ce soit
traces
Pérou.
of gunshot residue. I'd conclude that it hasn't been used recently. Right.
Ok.
I shall have to find its owner. Piece of fabric. High quality at that. I'd say it's silk. Going by the texture and the gray hue, it must come from a dress, that kind that women of quality wear.
Ok. Je pense qu'on a fait le tour.
Has Sir finished with this
I know
room?
enough now. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Sir may return whenever need be. I shall guard the door.
J'ai pas non plus de piste à proprement parler. A priori, ça va vers Jacques, mais ça me paraît trop simple. Washington.
Golden elixir.
A map of Vermont.
My dear George, I'd like to invite you to join me as planned at my place. I have a project.
It looks like a note between Emily and Washington about trade deals.
The English and the Americans are preparing a peace treaty. It would appear that Emily is in secret discussion with Washington about reopening trade between the United States and England. If such an arrangement came into being, France would suffer dearly.
Greetings, Louis.
Mr. President, you can guess why I'm here.
Of course.
Lord Mortimer has sent me to ask you a few questions about last night.
It's... How am I going to tell Elizabeth's father that she's dead?
I know, Mr. President. I shall endeavor to find out the truth about this tragedy. I must ask you to help me, though. Please.
Find the degenerate pig who did this, Louis.
Tell me, Mr. President, had you spoken to Elizabeth since your arrival? You know her father. You thought she was dead.
No, I didn't. And I believe I'll be taking my remorse with me to my grave.
Bon.
I wanted to, but I didn't know where to begin.
You can't blame yourself. You couldn't have known that her days were numbered. Were you aware that Elizabeth had laudanum?
Yes, she came to ask me for some. She had finished her reserve, I believe.
Do you take it regularly, Mr. President?
Unfortunately, I do, Louis.
I still suffer from a terrible toothache, and it's not likely to get any better.
It's just for that, then.
Old age, my young friend. I don't wish it upon you, but you'll soon see. At my age, it's rare to have no problems in that domain.
And do you take a lot?
A moderate amount, Louis. Only the dosage indicated on the prescription of my doctor.
Mr. President, we found a footprint at the scene of the crime.
Not a dress shoe, I hope. That's all I wear.
No, rest assured. It looks like the print of a big ankle boot. A large size, I'd say.
Perfect. That should help you, Louis. It's a clue.
Pas fini, frère.
Greetings, Louis.
Do you know if she had any enemies, Mr. President?
Not that I know of. I heard about her altercation with Mr. Peru, but that case was closed if I'm not mistaken. But if in doubt, I wouldn't leave any door unopened, and I'd go and question your fellow countrymen.
Don't worry. Countryman or not, I'm not letting anybody slip through the cracks. Do you know why she came to the island?
To get help, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that right?
Indeed. Sir Gregory suggested to her father that he introduce her to Lord Mortimer to see if he could help her.
Yes, Lord Mortimer has a talent for healing, apparently. I'm not surprised Sir Gregory advised her to come.
Agreed. I
Ok.
shan't keep you any longer, Mr. President.
Parce que
Feel free,
c'est-
Louis. If there's anything I can do, just ask.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Je pense pas qu'il ait tué la fille de son ami.
Portrait of George Washington. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
Ok, bon. On va aller voir les autres.
Duke Manuel Godoy.
Ouais, voir ma femme.
King George III in coronation robes. Nice touch for the room of an English duchess. Tending children at the orphanage in Harlem. I find it a little hard to understand this painting choice.
Dear E, I received your last letter. Unfortunately, the Crown informed the Golden Order that our mission should under no circumstances hamper Sir Gregory's...
Ok, il parle à sa sœur. Et si elle est là.
The Lady's Waldegrave by Reynolds. Painted upon the request of the Waldegrave family, in an effort to find them a husband.
Grammar of Port-Royal. Ah, the artistry of the French language in all its splendor. Whoever masters French commands the world. At least une partie of it.
A letter from William Pitt the Younger, addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Emily has indeed some powerful backers. A ruble. Two coils circle the lock. Two coils
Donc le
circle the
Vatican,
lock.
enfin les États pontificaux.
Queen Charlotte. All the royal family of England is there. From a letter from William Pitt the Elder addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your care and attention. I shall be indebted to you until my last breath. If you have any request of me, you only need a devil's thorn, to be used to uncover the best disguised traits.
Alors juste pour info, Emily, elle est immunisée à la logique et elle est sensible à la psychologie.
What can I do for you, Louis?
I've come to see you about last night's tragedy. Did you hear anything about what happened to Elizabeth?
Yes, we all did. Rumors spread quickly, you know. How awful. I didn't know her well, but I hope at least the poor thing didn't suffer too much.
Elizabeth was stabbed 9 times. No doubt she suffered greatly.
9 times? What monster is capable of such a horrible thing? Do you know what happened
Elle est chelou parce
exactly?
que t'as sa sœur
In
qui
fact, Lord Mortimer has asked me to look into this case, Emily.
Really? Are you Lord Mortimer's snoop now?
I'm doing it for Elizabeth, not to please Mortimer.
Good for you. Quite right, too. Have you found out anything?
Did you and Elizabeth get to know each other?
I must admit, Louis, I didn't take much interest in her. I feel a bit guilty about it, but I never actually spoke to her. She seemed burdened by her problems, and as she wasn't invited to the conference, I didn't really seek her out.
We found the murder weapon.
What is it?
A dagger, quite slim.
Have you found its owner?
Not yet, still searching as it happens. That said, since the blade penetrated the body several times, the murderer's hand will have been covered in blood.
You think that's a clue?
The handprint was a very slender hand, Emily. Probably that of a woman.
Do you realize what that means? There are only 3 of us on the island. Bearing in mind that neither my sister nor myself had any reason to set upon the young lady, that means...
I know, Emily. I know.
Keep up your courage, Louis. I'm sure there's an explanation. You're bound to shed some light on it all.
If what you say is true, Emily, I'm less and less enthusiastic about shedding any light on the subject. I hear you were in discussions with the Holy See.
Oh, either His Eminence can't keep his tongue from wagging, or you've been poking your nose where you shouldn't, sir.
Even so, Emily, you're raising a royalist army. That's no small matter.
And you are straying from the subject. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me?
Tell me, Emily, what's the nature of your relationship with Washington?
Oh, come off it, Louis. You're not going to go into a jealous rage, are you?
No, I can assure you of that. That has nothing to do with it.
It doesn't really matter. Look, Louis, the President and myself are working on a number of commercial contracts. Nothing overly exciting.
You're lying, Emily. If these agreements come into being, they'll break Franco-American alliances for the greatest benefit of England. In order to know. I won't keep you.
Ok,
Thank
bon
you
bah,
for answering my questions.
je sais pas.
See you, Louis.
Je sais pas. Elle est un peu inutile. À part être baisée. Excusez-moi. Dis-moi qu'on peut pas être ça. C'est qui là? Allez mon petit français. Je le kiffe Napoléon, c'est probablement mon personnage historique préféré. J'en ai trop que ça.
The Prince by Machiavelli.
Oh, je l'ai lu.
A perfect read for anyone with a surfeit of ambition. That might come in handy.
Au calme. Ah, il est là.
Hannibal crossing the Alps. Another military success. Why do I get nothing but visions of horror in my room? And he gets victory after victory? Honey,
Ah,
couldn't have hoped for better.
bonne chose.
The Battle of Alexander at Issus, or how Alexander the Great triumphed over King Darius. Yet another one with delusions of grandeur.
C'est vrai ça. On lui parlera à la fin. Comme d'hab, on va tout fouiller avant.
A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier.
Ben, c'est à lui.
It's a beautiful weapon. Lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer in Versailles.
Conviction. Conviction et politique.
My dearest son, I'm writing to implore you to act quickly. The situation is rapidly worsening here. Paoli continues to steer our motherland, Corsica.
Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost.
C'est Darius.
This is Circe.
Il y a des pièces de toutes les époques, c'est assez stylé. C'est quoi ce lit?
Amber.
Ah, ouais, une bonne nouvelle.
French actor Talma is Nero in Britannicus, the last emperor of the Caesar dynasty.
Coucou, c'est moi. C'est César. C'est Ah, mais c'est le Gaulois.
Vercingetorix throws down his arms at the feet of Julius Caesar by Royer, two great army chiefs.
Incroyable ce tableau. C'est vrai que des tableaux comme ça c'est stylé à
My dear Napoleon, as previously agreed, I would like to ask you to join us in January.
Okay.
There's just one holster in Bonaparte's gear, and the pistol is missing. On the other hand, his cleaning equipment is in mint condition. That's typical of the soldier in him.
Ok. Donc il lui manque le pistolet, on va essayer de lui... Le problème c'est qu'il m'aime pas.
Monsieur de Richer, please be quick. We are both very busy.
As any good soldier would, I imagine you own a firearm. May I see it?
Oh, well, if you really want to, here is my pistol. Don't worry, it is not loaded.
Do you have several of these?
In Corsica, oui, but not on me when I am traveling. Only a bandit would carry such an arsenal.
Thank you. Did you hear about young Elizabeth?
Indeed, it is deeply regrettable.
Lord Mortimer asked me to...
I know. You no doubt want to know my alibi. I spent the night downstairs playing cards.
Can you tell me who was present at the game, please?
Well, there were Lord Mortimer, President Washington, and Sir Gregory.
Thank you.
Ah, and His Eminence Piaget as well. Excuse me, I nearly forgot him. Poor soul.
Did any of you leave during the game?
Not that I know of, monsieur. I didn't exactly spend my time noting the other guests' comings and goings, but I don't think so.
Thank you. What time did the game end?
3h14.
I can't say exactly. As for me, I must have stayed until midnight. I was exhausted, couldn't think straight, so I preferred to go up to bed.
On your way up to bed, did you notice anything out of the ordinary?
No, not in the least. The whole manor was sound asleep.
Not really. No.
Did you notice anything unusual during the evening?
Nothing at all, except the luck of the devil of Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory at cards.
Qui Sir Gregory déjà? C'est qui lui? C'est qui?
Did they win much?
Oh la la, monsieur, they cleaned us out more like. But I plan on getting it all back before we leave.
Someone saw you not far from the victim's room. Can you tell me what you were doing exactly, please?
I can tell you that someone is an idiot. I wanted to warn her to be careful. You see, on the night of my arrival, I saw someone leaving her room in haste, and I wanted to speak to her, to warn her. Unfortunately, the young lady slipped through my fingers each time. Now I know why. She had every reason to be worried. What an idiot I was not to insist. I could have helped her.
Alors, Napoléon et la psychologie.
Were you able to recognize the prowler?
Unfortunately not, no. It was dark, and Lord Mortimer was waiting for me. I was not really paying attention anyway. Well, have we finished?
Je vais garder le truc.
Exactly. Thanks again for all your answers. Good
Bon,
day.
bah, y'a que Jacques Pérou hein, pour l'instant, mais. Ça me semble trop facile encore une fois. On va continuer de fouiller. Ok. Là, ça va être marrant. On va déjà l'agresser.
What do you want from me, de Richet?
Greetings. It's fallen to me
Cut
that...
the crap! Get to the point. We both know why you're here.
And have you got anything to tell me?
What does it matter? It's too late anyway. Do what you have to do and get out.
No.
It's never too late, sir. If you have something to say, now is the time.
You don't understand. Everything's already written. It's over.
Why is he behaving like the perfect culprit?
What is it that's
Ouais,
already
c'est
written? I'm
cool.
not sure I follow you.
No, you don't.
Parle-moi.
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. You were armed the night of my arrival. Can I see your weapon?
No.
You do realize you're not helping, don't you? You're making it worse for yourself. I know you were at the scene. We will save a lot of time if you just tell me what happened.
You know nothing at all.
Enlighten me then. For now, I have your footprint in a pool of blood.
That's right. The only thing you can prove is one of my boots was at the scene. Congratulations. You've wrapped up the investigation.
Putain.
A pattern with 4 circles. Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm writing to thank you for the funds you sent. These funds will be crucial for the renovation of the western wing of the orphanage. The children you sent are doing marvelously.
Donc le mec en fait il est plutôt gentil je pense.
Will soon be walking.
Je sais pas, c'est je
Some
pense
of
pas
them
que ce
still
soit
sometimes
trop
have
simple.
nightmares about their parents on the scaffold, but I expect they will cease in due course. Should you decide to send us more, please note that another 20 beds will soon be ready. The children and myself will never thank you enough. Long live the Republic. Long live France. Sister Marie-Hélène. All right. I've retrieved everything. Dear Miss... All right. I've retrieved everything. The Massacre of the Innocents by Rubens. A bit gloomy. Guess my room is not that bad. Great, honey.
Ouh, c'est au féminin, tu dois être protégé. Je pense qu'il l'aimait, moi. Je pense qu'il l'aimait et que ils sont battus pour X raisons.
The Massacre of the Innocents, but by Van
Quoi?
Harlem. I think that Mortimer likes to play mind games with his guests.
Je me dis pas que c'est le massacre des innocents à chaque fois.
Records of the police. Notes intended for the police lieutenant of Paris.
It's a list of people under surveillance in Paris. Man, there's some well-known names on it. This is valuable information. This shouldn't be lying around. Another painting on the Massacre of the Innocents? Golden elixir. Consume without excess.
Dear friend, please come and join us. We must meet about the ongoing operations in Paris. A boat will be waiting for you.
Mais toutes ces statues, c'est...
All right. Have you finished?
Not quite. I'd like you to answer a few questions. I'd like to talk about the letter you're writing. What woman is it addressed to?
Who says it's a
Bon, on a
woman?
45 minutes.
I'm not saying any more. There's no point you insisting.
On a 45 minutes. Moi, je peux continuer. Ça va une petite heure. C'est fini là, vraiment? Et il est rentré dans sa chambre, lui, on va l'interroger.
The alchemist is a young man. Carmelite water. You say that if you drink this, it gives you the signs of the zodiac. A chest lock with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
Golden elixir.
A table of alchemical symbols. Someone circled the zinc symbol.
Oh!
A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
C'est quoi théâtre room? Quoi théâtre room? C'est une pièce? Note mystérieuse. On voit pas ce qu'il fait.
The sorrows of young Werther. There's a handwritten text signed by von Werner on this first page. Dear Elizabeth, I know that this book is but a small token compared to the delightful moments you gave me, but I hope that this will nonetheless keep the memory alive. Your ever obedient servant. So, Volner had a relationship with Elizabeth. But that's hardly surprising given his fondness for the occult.
Est-ce que c'est écrit qu'il aime l'occulte là-dedans? Ouais. Ok, parce que du coup, le coffre qui est en bas avec tes 4 lettres, j'imagine que c'est à lui.
The signs of obscurantism.
Amber.
The alchemist is an old man.
Alors attendez, juste lui, par hasard, les diversions, ça marche.
What can I do for you, de Richet?
Monsieur, Lord Mortimer has appointed me to investigate the tragedy that befell us last night.
Oh, yes. It's horrible. Yes. How can I help, monsieur?
Did you see how many tattoos Miss Adams had on her?
Of course. Who wouldn't have noticed?
Yes, but I'm sure that an expert like yourself must have an opinion on the subject.
I do. She was seeking to imprison something inside her. Her own body had become a sort of prison.
She wanted to protect herself. Is that what you're saying?
Elizabeth was a flame. A candle in the night. And like all candles in the night, she was surrounded by darkness, by her demons. Call it what you will. One thing is for sure. She struggled against hell and high water not to let her flame go out.
Excuse me for asking, but did you know Miss Adams?
Oh, she... not really, to tell the truth. No.
I found the Werther dedication, signed by your hand, monsieur. Would you like to change your version now?
Be careful, de Richet. Don't push your luck. My relationship with Miss Adams was pure, and has nothing to do with you. Well, continue playing the detective as you see fit. But if I find
Le
the
poignard, il
bastard
était
who did
féminin.
that to Elizabeth, I will...
Yes! I would have preferred a simple response, but I see I have my answer now.
Redis-moi, diversion.
I get the impression that your romance was over. Am I right?
So? What does it matter to you? I would never have attacked her, if that's what you're insinuating.
Who put an end to the relationship? You or her?
It was her. It was her. But what does that matter? We both agreed.
Please, tell me a little more about the nature of your relationship.
That is a personal matter, monsieur.
Yes, that is true. So, tell me.
All right. It was passion. That's why we couldn't stay together. It scared her.
Where were you last night?
In my room. I read a few ancient manuscripts before going to bed. But I didn't stay up long. I was tired.
Thank you kindly. We finished. I'll have a look around and then take my leave.
Do whatever you have to do.
J'ai plus ou moins fait le tour, non? On va refaire un tour, mais... Napoléon c'est bon, Pérou c'est bon. C'est qui là? C'est sa chambre. Euh... Washington, c'est bon. J'ai pas raté des gens en bas là. Cardinal, je vais parler en bas. Là, c'est chez moi. Lui, je lui ai pas parlé, tu vois. Je sais pas c'est qui en fait ce type. Là, j'ai parlé ici. C'est ma gonzesse, ça. Je lui ai parlé. Je lui ai parlé. On va retourner au sous-sol et voir, enfin, au second étage, et voir s'il y a des infos que j'ai ratées au premier truc. Et puis on s'arrêtera là, parce que ça va faire une petite heure. Alors je sais que j'ai 2 compétences gratuites, mais je pense que je peux les utiliser en parlant à Mortimer. Parce qu'il y a la petite boîte là. Zeus. On a vu Zeus au tout début.
Which four-letter word could open this chest?
Ça y ressemble, hein? Ça y ressemble. Ça y ressemble. Oh, je suis un monstre. Tu vois, les notes à la main, là, je sais pas où je les ai. Alors juste, avant de dévoiler qui j'ai choisi, surtout que
I've come to speak about the
j'ai
findings of
choisi
the
plus ou moins
investigation,
personne.
Lord.
Hein.
I'm listening, Louis.
I believe I've identified the murderer.
Really, Louis? All right then. Please think carefully before you give me your answer. This is a very, very serious accusation.
Ouais, moi je pense qu'elle s'est suicidée.
I believe it was suicide.
Suicide? Louis, I hope you have solid evidence.
The knife found beside Elizabeth's body had a handprint on it, a slender. And without a doubt, the hand of a woman.
And Elizabeth is the only female guest? Come, Louis. Anything else?
She overdid the laudanum and the wine, probably to take away her anxiety. She could have decided she couldn't go on and acted while she was not her normal self.
C'est
Sounds a
cohérent.
bit far-fetched to me,
Honnêtement,
but it
c'est
isn't without
cohérent.
logic. Anything else?
Et je pense
She was
que
covered in scars from previous acts of scarification. That proves that she was prone to harming
je pense que
herself.
Pérou était
Her
sur place
suicide was
et
a
qu'après il s'est
culmination of
enfui,
this.
What you say makes
mais
sense.
qu'il a entendu des
But
bruits donc
look,
il allait
Louis,
voir.
haven't you anything else?
It is my conviction that she killed herself.
So she stabbed herself 9
Ouais, c'est
times?
le problème.
Really? That's very hard to believe, Louis. Louis, I'm afraid this is simply not sufficient. This is a serious accusation. I need concrete evidence. That is why I am taking over this case as
Bon,
of
moi, je me mets
now.
personne à dos.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She seems to be making every effort to steer
On
clear
va se
of the
faire un épisode un
guests.
peu plus long.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
I'd like to answer the cat, but unfortunately, I'm increasingly worried that she's, in fact, the mouse.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities and yours in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain
Donc,
by
je vais pas
working
lancer tout
together.
ça, j'aurais dû m'arrêter
You
avant.
mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far. Yet he told me that you had spoken and that you hadn't been able to reach an understanding.
That's putting it mildly. Monsieur Bonaparte is one of those guys who only understands people who think like he does.
Ah, I see what you mean. He is indeed rather inflexible when it comes to certain subjects. But I am still of the opinion that you can manage to get along.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Did my mother intend to finance a war? I'm not sure that I follow.
No, your mother's aim was not so much to partake in a war, but rather to make Monsieur Bonaparte accountable. France is in turmoil, and having support of a military man can often come in handy, Louis. You'll see. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the
Bien
conference,
sûr.
would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Ah, thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother
Bon,
informed
bah
of what you
écoutez,
said.
très très intéressant.
There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
She was looking for someone.
What do you mean?
In Paris, we were working on a smuggling case to do with occult objects. We had just arrested a dealer who intended to go to you to meet a buyer. My mother was here to find out to whom he intended to sell his stolen treasure.
Oh. What was the name of your dealer?
Excellent.
The dealer was called Von Burchard. As for the buyer, he was unknown to us.
No, I don't know anything about that. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Maybe she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we like to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon
Si j'avais su que c'était
to
aussi long,
the
j'aurais
Treaty
attendu
of
l'épisode
Jaffy,
d'après.
or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
The armistice between the Russians and the Turks. Russia's come out of it having officially won Crimea, which gives it direct access to the Black Sea.
And, at the same time, the Mediterranean Sea. I'm worried about the decisions Tsarina Catherine might decide to take. She's a woman who managed to get rid of her husband to accede to the upper reaches of power. Gaining access to the Mediterranean Sea remains her main objective. When she still had that dear Potemkin as her lover, I could always find out about her intentions, but those days are over.
You're speaking of Grigory Alexandrovich Potemkin?
The very man. The little devil behind the mother of all Russians. Since his death, I know absolutely nothing of what the Tsarina is up to.
Oh, really?
Ah, yes. I didn't mean to shock you. Please forgive me. Let's just say that, in my position, it is often advantageous to know about the habits and customs of world leaders.
I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
C'est long.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the Third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Si je fais ça, je l'ai ou pas? Putain, je l'ai pas.
Unfortunately,
Ah,
my
ça sera
lord,
utile.
the Crusades are not my chosen field.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to learn. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are
Putain.
worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she shot her with a pistol. Then, before Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon? Hang on.
That means my vision on the wharf, it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room
Well,
we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Thank you.
Bon bah voilà. Bon, on va s'arrêter. C'est un peu long du coup. Merci de m'avoir suivi.
The room was just opposite
Et
Mortimer's
puis je vous
study.
dis à la prochaine. Ciao.